Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you all being here. And today I want to talk about how we know crypto is a popularity contest, right? And something that can at least get me excited is when you realize that a crypto that's got a huge use case, let's call it major in tokenization, or really the largest variety of use cases for any crypto that I know of, has just made a little brand inside deal with a sport that gets around 826 million people global as a fan base. Should be a little intriguing. I thought this was bullish. If you didn't know, I am talking about Hedera Hbar. So Hedera is now being advertised across Formula One and IndyCar. So this was a really big deal. Personally, I don't give a rat's ass about racing. I really don't. But knowing that people can only buy something that they hear about and see about, okay, now we're talking huge numbers. We're talking about a sport that so many people, was it over three quarters, 80% of a trillion people watch. Big deal. So, if you didn't know, Hedera has now partnered with McLaren Racing, and if I butcher the pronunciation, I'm going to do it several more times in this video. So, but once we understand what the scale of this is, the exposure that Hedera is going to get from this, who's involved behind the scenes, this could become even a larger deal. Yes, it didn't make large price action right now, but that's also not the point. Advertising doesn't work instantly, or at least it usually doesn't, and typically the quicker that it does, the quicker it comes on the downside too. But now we're going to see Hedera and Hbar spread across more TV commercials, more paid advertising, live on people in cars. I thought this is pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Going to clarify a little bit about what's going on with this new deal that they made. And please do put your comments, questions, additions, of course, down below. And I'll ramble with you guys for sure in the comments. So what actually happened? So Hedera has entered a multi-year partnership with McLaren Racing. Okay, cool. That makes Hedera an official partner of, yes, the McLaren Formula One team, but also the Aero McLaren IndyCar team, which extending far past into 2026. So this branding opportunity gets pretty large in scale, right? Hedera branding is now going to be visual on not just the cars, but also the driver suits. It's going to be across the race weekends, and again, hundreds of millions of global viewers, right? Much more than just a little Twitter exposure right now. So why should we really care about this? So first off, Formula One. Okay, it's one of the most watched sports in the world. Again, I don't understand it. If you guys do, tell me what's so cool about racing. I'm curious. I even grew up in an area where that was really big. Never understood it, but I understand what the numbers mean, right? It gets broadcast across Europe, Asia, the Middle East, let alone here in the Americas. It's viewed by corporate executives, institutions, governments, and then just the everybody. And though it's not the largest gambling sport in the world, it definitely happens. And a lot of people who aren't into crypto, maybe some of us who are, see crypto as a gambling experience. This could bring new people in, right? And Hedera's done really well with their advertising with companies, right? They do the same thing with Karate Combat. And now a sneaky little detail again is it's not just Formula One. This got into the IndyCar extension as well. So this is kind of important because IndyCar is specifically a North American audience, and Hedera is in that American crypto niche, right? That hasn't been pushed for a little while. I'm very confident that's going to end up coming back, where it's like American crypto. Cool. India is definitely big here. It makes it more crypto friendly. There is less regulatory hostility to it, and it just makes everything easier to test between fan engagement, digital rewards, and this is a repeat usage, right? Races happen frequently. It's not like it's just a one-off. They're quite frequent, actually. So it's not like we have to worry about it just being every couple of month kind of scenario. It's also going on to their collectibles, which that is another huge market that's involved in with racing. As now people are going to be, the ones who are big into collecting, going to see Hbar there more often. Again, this is not going to turn into, like pump it up to $1 by itself, but collectibles bring in a lot of money. And again, it's just what people see. And this can also open the door to other partnerships, right? This is a big foot into the door where they're not necessarily going to get a large partnership with a lot of other Formula One, but they're now into another large sport, right? They got into the combat sports. Now they're getting into racing, and there's so many different varieties of racing. And again, all these people talk, right? So as they realize what money is coming in just from, oh, this whole crypto thing, Hbar, comes into it, there's a very good chance this is opening up deals to more down the road. And of course, with the governing council members of all these other large companies, that network works, right? It's all who knows who. And I've said this for a while. Hedera is the largest variety of crypto. It does so many things. You see it in so many places. And this just added a little bit more to the resume, which is pretty cool. So now, speculation here. This is not official, so don't jump in on this one with too much excitement. But this is another potential MasterCard connection. Right? I mean, MasterCard and Visa, they've been not shy about jumping in with crypto. They see that crypto is going to be the future of finance. Okay, cool. Well, McLaren already has a deep partnership with MasterCard, and this is not the first partnership that Hedera has that has a two-way end into it. So again, just to be clear, MasterCard has not yet announced a Hedera partnership, but they operate inside the same McLaren ecosystem. Again, it's all about networking connections. And we know that Hedera has been connecting in with things like credit cards. They are into the payment processing. They're into the ISO narrative. So this is a good step forward for the future of that as well. And again, anything that has Hbar getting more publicity, more information, more people into it, the better. It's been around for a little while too, so it also is starting to build its own name recognition. Not quite to the same as XRP, which you can look at as a competitor or really, I think they're going to be partnering up in so many different things, but that is, isn't here nor there. But this is how enterprise adoption happens, right? Is more and more large companies, more and more large exposure comes in. And right now we are kind of in a boring phase of crypto. Not much is going on, and when it does, it's usually looked at pretty poorly, even if it has nothing to do with crypto, from all the macroeconomics and political distress and everything that's happening. But when we have boring times, that's when all the work is getting into play. And this is just a little bit bigger of a note of the work that Hedera has been doing. So there's also a mini use case built in with this for Hedera. Right now Hedera is being used for the free-to-claim digital collectibles. I don't want to call it NFTs, not exactly the same, never understood this anyway, but it's another utility or really just another way of bringing in money and finance to it. It's tied to the race car weekends. Okay. And there's no crypto friction involved with this, right? There's no wallets required, no one has to understand it, they're just going to repetitively see a name. But I love seeing huge partnerships like this made. I see this right now as more of an advertising partnership. Again, I understand how it can be a little bit more from this, but this just builds onto what Hedera is already building. Right? Hedera already supports compliant asset tokenization. That's huge. They already do enterprise grade digital asset. They're already in with real world ownership models. The whole real estate aspect that they're getting deeper into. Now imagine the future expansions like tokenized fan loyalty. We're going to have access-based digital passes, right? There's a lot of things that Hedera can come into this. People buy tickets for Formula One, or they end up buying their McLaren merchandise through Hedera, not even knowing it. That's a possible step forward. Again, speculative, but this is the direction Hedera is trying to go anyway. If it doesn't happen right now with McLaren and Formula One, it's going to happen with something else down the road. It can help out with verified ownership that are tied to the real events, as well as cross-league digital identity with the F1 and Indy cars. Okay? So even if a little fraction of McLaren's fan base interacts repeatedly with Hedera power systems, this is just more continued network demand. And continued network demand is what keeps a crypto afloat and keeps it going. Right? And it's also just real demand. This eventually helps justify more token utility, attracts more developers, draws more institutions, more large deals. So there are going to be bigger deals coming out with Hedera in the near future. I am positive on it. But this is not a small one. So I thought this was pretty cool. I thought this was a little under advertised. Again, it's probably just because the sentiment of the market didn't get around all that much. But I'm excited for what's going to come. So was this exciting to you guys when you heard about this McLaren deal? How badly am I pronouncing this? Let me know all your thoughts and stuff down below. Thank you guys once again for being here. I appreciate you all. I'll see you guys again on the next one. Peace.